أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. My respected elders, my loving young ones, my dear brothers and sisters, and my caring and sharing friends, and my dear children. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And Ramadan Kareem to all of you. Kullu Amin wa Antum Bikhair. Good day to all of you in this blessed month of Ramadan with lot of sincere prayers and good wishes. I am Professor Dr. Zeenat Kausar here. I would like to share some of my thoughts on Palestine and Israel. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The title of my informal, general and simple talk is Might is right is shattered. Right is right matters. I divided this talk into three small parts for your convenience. I will start from part one. Topic of the part one is Might is right is shattered. Here, firstly, I would present few small extracts from one or two articles published in Al Jazeera showing that the two US presidents, the recent former one, Joe Biden, and the present one, Donald Trump, Donald Trump, asserts that Israel has not committed any genocide in Gaza. And Trump, till a day before yesterday, till 12th March, said openly that Egypt or Jordan should keep Palestinians from Gaza and Gaza would be rebuilt again at, as a revival of the Middle East. Just yesterday on 13th March, he changed his opinion, saying that Palestinians in Gaza would remain in Gaza. I argue that Trump said so because the Western assumption might is right is shattered into pieces. So here we begin. When Joe Biden was the President of America, a reporter from Al Jazeera stated the words of Joe Biden, who said this at the White House. What is happening in Gaza is not genocide. We reject that. When the present President of the United States, Donald Trump, takes his position, obviously we do not find him different from Biden. A reporter from Al Jazeera writes, speaking in the Oval Office, Trump again pushed his plan for a U.S. redevelopment of Gaza minus the Palestinians. Next, in a news conference with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Tuesday, 5th February, Trump said that Palestinians would love to leave Gaza, thinking that the US would rebuild and redevelop this strip as the Riviera of the Middle East. What do all these show? The US follows its own definitions of genocide and its own definitions of international humanitarian law. Why so? Here I reply. The US and its allies follow their own definitions on many important and crucial terms which differ from the definitions of other countries of the world, that is, from the rest of the world. Why so? I reply again. The US and its Western allies assume that West is different, better, bigger, and superior from the rest. Why so? I reply here. The so-called superior or big Western powers follow a false assumption. What is that? It is might is right. We cannot go into a long discussion on this philosophy here. In simple words, it is an assertion that right and wrong are not based on such values like justice, fairness, truth, norms, spirituality, religion, etc. Right and wrong are based on might, strength, power, etc. In other words, this assumption is nurtured on arrogance that they are the best and the superior people while others are inferior to them. They believe in the survival of the fittest. That means those who are powerful, they are the winners because they can do whatever they want and they alone decide what is right and what is wrong, and what is good and what is bad, etc. Based on such negativity and force, they strongly wish to overpower others and rule others and attain hegemony. My dear brothers, sisters, and children, how do you find reading or hearing these thoughts of Trump? For Trump, is Palestine a just child's play or a plain sailing? Is Trump totally unaware of the gallant and heroic history of Palestinians? Does Trump think that Palestinians would forget the immense sacrifices of their men, women, and children, the way they were tortured and butchered and killed in their own country? Furthermore, we would like to know whether Trump has read anything on the stance the Muslim leaders took when British was giving its full-fledged support to Israel against Palestine through League of Nations in Geneva, Switzerland. Most of us know that learning about the first session of the League of Nations on 15th November 1920, the world-known poet, philosopher of Islam, Allama Iqbal Rahmatullah alayh, openly made it clear to Palestinians in one of his Urdu poems called Falastini Arab Se. In one of his poetic anthologies called Zarb-e Kalim, he writes, तेरी दवा न जनेवा में है न लंदन में, तेरी दवा न जनेवा में है न लंदन में, फरंग की रगे जां पंजिए यहूद में है. Its English translation goes like this. Your Palestinians, Panacea is neither at Geneva nor at London, because the jugular vein of the West is in the clutches of Jews. Well, I think it would have been better if Trump could have spared some time to read few books on Palestinian issues. he would have learned from them that Palestinians are not those kinds of people who would leave their own indigenous land to the usurpers and colonialists and imperialists so that they gallop their highly spiritual piece of land that is blessed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all the people of the world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran in Surah Al-Anbiya verse 21. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. وَنَجَّيْنَاهُ وَلُوطًا إِلَى الْأَرْضِ الَّتِي بَارَكْنَا فِيهَا لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Translation goes like this. Then we delivered him along with Lut to the land we had showered with blessings for all people. And I hope you are following the news on Palestine. Finally, Trump seems to have changed his opinion of annexing Gaza and rebuilding it with new hotels and beaches. On 13th March 2025, Trump said Palestinians in Gaza are not going to be expelled, backtracking on comments in February when he announced a plan for the US to take over the territory and move people to neighboring countries. This fact is when Trump could observe, the fact is when Trump could observe quite clearly that his warnings could do nothing to the leaders and the civilians of Palestine. And when, surprisingly, Trump could see how finally the Middle East is showing its unity and solidarity against Israel and the US, and boldly presenting their views that Palestine would remain firm and steadfast in its own land, and neither Israel nor the US could touch this blessed land. Trump found he has no other choice than backtracking from his previous pointless and bootless assumption. This clearly shows what? The false Western assumption might is right is shattered into pieces. Now I go to my second part.